She's coming. She sees me. She picks it up.
So what's everybody's gut reaction whenever they see the ball come off the ground? Like, is there anyone that usually looks at it and has any hesitations on it anymore? I mean, it's becoming a new part of the game. I mean, it was part of the game years ago, and particularly the reason why was it was mostly on grass, and you couldn't really do a whole lot on that. Now that we have AstroTurf and even nicer grasses coming in, you're going to see a lot more people doing block tackles because they know the ball's flat on the ground. You have a bigger percentage of getting the ball with 36 inches of a stick as opposed to just 2 inches. Now to get past that, just as she did, more often than not, they're picking the ball up, and after they make that pass past the player, they tend to keep it on the stick a little bit longer. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just what happens after that that might become an issue. So we all know if it hits me and if players are wearing their shoes like she is, we know that players are supposed to defend anything below the knee, right? Like that's never an issue.
Can you speak just a little bit louder?
Sorry, I'm getting over a cold too.
Okay,
So.
I will come in.
So if a player flicks it into somebody's shins, that's never an issue, right? We're never going to call that as dangerous, right? We're all agreed on that, right? Yeah, okay. So if she flicks it into my shin, that's never an issue. Yeah, you don't want to get to that point. So we have no issue there. Now, if she's air dribbling at that same height, again, that's never going to be an issue, right? When it gets higher than that, what are we looking at? Anybody have any guesses? Anybody have any ideas?
Danger.
What are you guys looking at whenever it's above? Yeah, when it's above the knee, okay? And what is danger? Into somebody, okay.
Or you're coming into
Or
her.
you're going
I mean,
into the
you're not.
dribbler.
Okay. What does the rule book say is dangerous? What's our guideline in the rule book as what is dangerous play?
Must move or touch the ball. The ball touch the body.
If it touches the body, okay.
Legitimate evasive action.
Thank you. Okay. LEA, legitimate evasive action. So, more often than not, because I mean they're wearing goggles now, they're wearing shin guards, they're wearing mouth guards, they're not as afraid anymore as they used to be. Particularly on penalty corners where they're putting on knee pads, they're putting on gloves, they're putting on the face mask. I mean, we don't do that in high school, but that's where we're going. They're not as afraid when they're coming out to play the ball. They're looking for a legitimate way to play the ball now. So it makes it a little bit more difficult now for us to decide, or it makes it less often now that things are dangerous as they used to be.
Real quick, if it thunders or lightnings or bathrooms are needed, the door right there at the science building, which is up those two railings, that's open, and the classroom on the right is open, so if y'all need to escape.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay. So now, with that in mind, when she comes and dribbles at me at this height, what are we looking at? Right here, and right now. Okay, ball's here. What are we looking at?
Where your stick's going.
Where my stick is going? Okay, so that could be, I could be creating danger, right? Right? I can create danger just as much as she can, right?
It's also higher than your knees.
Okay, so that's another thing we have towards us.
Is she coming in straight at you, or has she?
Okay. Right, and why is that a point?
She's taking the effort to get out of the way.
Right, because if she's going at me, there could be legitimate evasive action, right? So if she's coming at me and I'm not looking at a way to play the ball, and I'm just trying to get out of the way, that could be an indicator that it could be dangerous. If I'm now looking at a way, and I'm not obviously ducking it here, and I'm looking, you're reading body language here to try to find a way to get it out of here, there's no issues, right? Obviously it's not dangerous to me if I'm trying to find a way to play the ball, right? Same thing like if a ball is raised, if you're just throwing it into space, just throw it into space, and I run into it and it hits me, was there legitimate evasive action?
No.
No, I was creating danger. I was looking for a way to play the ball and it happened to hit me, right? So it's no different if the ball comes up off the ground and it stays near her stick and I'm looking for a way to play it.
I thought the book said we couldn't do that.
That's what I was just going to say. According to what I remember reading in the rule book, if the ball is that high, you do not have the right to play a ball.
I don't.
That's what I got out of the book.
No.
Do we have
That
the new
she
rule
has
book?
to
Was
put
it
in-
something new?
She would have to put it down.
She's supposed to either put it down or go around.
Yeah. I think you're thinking more international or higher level than
The NFH.
Yeah, I know that rule book, but again, what does anybody have the NFH rule book with them?
I have
We
it,
all
but
have it.
there's one, but it, because I was holding it for somebody.
Oh, I'm not taking it with me. I have mine at home somewhere.
Sounds misconduct.
Right. So the guidance for that is going to be
I would think
5 or 6 or something.
Hit the
Yeah,
ball
like-
and you take
feels
it down
like
to the ground.
baseball.
But if you hit it down to the ground
Right.
and safely, then there should be no, there's
As
no
long
call.
as long as I don't hit it into you.
Yeah, and you're not hitting it this way or anything. There should be no call.
Hands-off obstruction.
Because I mean, you have to have some way to stop it.
We use some common
They could,
sense.
and
Is
then
it
that's
dangerous
really,
or is it
they
not
could double
dangerous?
all.
All right, so we're going back to the points of emphasis is what we're looking at. Error dribbling, okay? So, okay, so they're talking about playing distance. They're saying a player who's carrying the ball on her stick is responsible for the safety of play when an opponent is within marking distance. Okay? So, again, they are responsible for safety of play when I'm within marking distance, but again, is it dangerous or not? That's up to us to decide if it's safe or not, right? And marking distance in the NFHS rulebook as opposed to the FIH rulebook is not a stick's length, it's 5 meters, or 5 yards, sorry. So 5 yards in the NFHS rulebook, once she comes within 5 yards of me, what they're saying is that she's now responsible for the safety of play. Again, it's up to us to decide what is safe. We're always, the sole discretion of danger is on the umpire, correct? It's whether the whistle goes or not at the end of the day, right? And it's always on us to decide if there's a foul or not, because if we decide there's not a foul, there's no whistle, then there was no foul. That's the same thing across the board for everything we do. It's our discretion. So if I'm within 5 yards, now it's basically telling us points of emphasis, not in the rules section, the points of emphasis that we need to be aware, more cognizant of what's going on and be ready to do something. That make sense?
Yep.
Okay?
So if she dribbles down and it's waist high and you come in and bat it and your stick goes into her,
Then it's his foul.
It's on the
You want to be as preventative as you can in those
but
situations.
she's causing the foul because she's playing it high.
She could be. She could be. She could be.
He's coming right at you.
If you could be. Yeah, if she's coming at me again, and if it's we have whether it's dangerous or not, or whether it's leading to dangerous play. We have that part in there too,
So
right?
first foul would have been it's leading
Could
to
be, yeah.
danger.
If
and
I come at her, this high, obviously you're going to want to step in there before it gets to the point where I'm swinging at it.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
No different than a ball that's falling between us. You're not going to wait till it's here and we're swinging at it, right? You're going to try to call it when it's somewhere up here before it gets there. So the same thing if I'm dribbling at her or she's dribbling at me this high and it's bouncing, it's obviously not controlled, then it's leading to dangerous play on who?
You.
On me, right? Okay? You would never see it even at the international level, me dribbling it this high into a crowd of people or even at a single player because one of two things is going to happen. I'm going to hurt her or him, one of the two, whether it's men's or women's, or if I don't do something, they're going to do something. And now who's at fault? Who loses trust in the umpires? We do. Right? Okay? So that's all that part is saying is we need to be more aware than ever about this skill, and I think that's why they're addressing it now is because it's becoming more and more and more popular. Girls are becoming very skilled, obviously, at bringing the ball up here and having control with it. We don't want to take that skill away, but we need to catch up as umpires as well. Make sense?
Also, I would like to add, though, there are a lot of players who will make the effort to do what Carolyn has the ability to do and don't have that ability.
Oh, absolutely.
And so we have to be really
Absolutely.
aware of those
And that's what I
players
mean about
as
the leading
well.
to dangerous play. Obviously, if I'm bouncing it up here in an uncontrolled manner, it's going to become dangerous within the 5 yards, right? Within the marking distance according to the NFHS rulebook, right? So that's absolutely a great point because, again, there's some girls that are seeing Caroline do this stuff, and they want to try it. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. But at the middle school level, it's probably not as fine-tuned yet. They're going to get there, hopefully, and we want to encourage them to do that. But we only want to intervene when it becomes an issue. So we don't want to step in and tell them, no, no, you're not good enough to do that yet, until it becomes an issue. Right? No, does anybody want to see anything related to that? Or anybody want to see any demonstration, any
Can
scenarios?
you have her go up the sideline and show us the safe way for the defender to defend and and one that you
absolutely.
would call?
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
that's typically where I've seen it. They'll try to bring it up the sideline.
Yeah, either
and
I'm
so-
trying to make the tackle here, or they come up and over right here on the sideline, or I get beat and now I'm trying to reach around, right?
Right, so usually they don't even get in the block tackle.
Right.
Typically I see it where, I don't know, you're 5 yards away.
Okay.
And she gets it up and now she's going to try to come up the sideline. Show us a legal way and an illegal way for you to...
So guys, do we want to
There's
move
your
into the
sideline.
field here so that we can actually utilize the sideline a little bit so it makes it a little more realistic? So when Caroline starts to go down the sideline like this, a lot of times, again, we'll be coming out of this area here, trying to make a play on the ball from either this angle, or if we're on defense already and we're coming at it, we're coming from that angle this way. Either way, it's going to be coming at a weird angle because, again, they're on the sideline. Very rarely are you going to see, if she's already on that breakaway, me coming down the sideline right here, square on, right?
Right.
Right? Because once you get down into this area, obviously someone's been eliminated up there, and now they're trying to play catch up either from that angle or from here, right?
Right.
Okay, so game scenario. One thing to take in mind whenever we're making these tackles, wherever we are on the field, is degree of risk. What chance do I have of making a clean tackle? And if I get it right, no issues. If I get it wrong, the penalty needs to meet that degree of risk. Does that make sense? So if it's a high-risk tackle and I get it wrong, I need to have a high penalty. If it's low risk and I get it wrong, it's a low penalty, right? So everything we do, we try to define intention. This is intentional, degree of risk. Intentional, accidental, or clumsy. All of that has to be weighed in if you understand degree of risk on where we're tackling. Okay? So if I'm coming in here while the ball's up in the air, what is the degree of risk in this position here? High, right? What are my chances of getting the ball correctly from this part? Low. Now, if I do get it right, no issues. It's going to be, here. This is how I put it. If I get it right, it's the highlight of the night. If I get it wrong, so long. Okay? Easy to memorize, right? So if it's a high degree of risk and I get it right, we might be a little dumbfounded like, wow, I can't believe they got that. Fine, play on, okay?
So what's getting it right, though?
Getting it right is I have to make contact with the ball before anything else, right?
So
if I
you
get
can't
the
get her
stick,
stick, you can't get her body.
I can't get the stick first.
Like just then you got the stick.
Yeah, I got the stick first. I came up and under and I got her stick. If I get the ball first, throw it up pretty high, and then I come down and hit her stick just as it's happening. The ball's already out of bounds and I happen to hit her stick.
Can I ask a question, though?
Yeah.
All right, in that instance, you were beside or in front of her. What
Yeah.
happens now if they're a little bit behind?
Okay?
Okay, can they still legally, without offending with their body, still possibly get that in the air?
Again, the degree of risk is even higher, right?
Right.
So there's nothing in the rule book says I can't tackle from here. It just says that I have to be able to tackle from anywhere on the field without body contact or without interfering with the player, right? So I can't be leaning on her when I'm making the tackle, and I can't interfere with her stick when I'm making the tackle, right? Okay. Theoretically, I could legally make the tackle here, but again, the degree of risk is even higher, right? Because now I can't even see where I'm tackling. If I get it right, maybe careful with that next time you're very close, right? Step in and let them know that you are aware of what they're trying to do, and they were very close to going off with the yellow card, right?
So would it be legal for them, if you are back there,
Yeah.
and this is considered a legal part of the stick, correct?
Yeah, this right here, all
The
of this,
edge.
yep, all that.
So
yep.
could they come in and try to knock the ball that way,
Yeah.
and that would be considered legal.
Yeah, again, all of it is subject to the rules of the rule book. I'm allowed to tackle from anywhere or attempt to tackle from anywhere, as long as, again, what can't I do? Interfere with the player or body contact, right? Yeah, so all of that, again, is subject to what I'm allowed to do from here.
Okay, so now what if you're coming on your angle that you talked about?
Yeah, so if I'm coming same way this way, degree of risk on this one is
Lower.
not as high, right? There's still a degree of risk. No matter where I'm tackling from, there is some sort of risk. If I stop my feet, degree of risk goes up, right? If my feet are still moving, chances are, again, I'm not going to break down play, right? Or I'm not going to get it wrong. That's why you always hear the coaches yelling, keep your feet moving, keep your feet moving, keep your feet moving. Right, Brad? Yeah. Yes.
So what if you're 5 yards away and she dribbles right into you? Wouldn't that be her foul though? If you
In the air?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Again,
Okay.
it's the same thing we were talking about earlier. If she's dribbling at me like this in an uncontrolled manner up here, the ball's dangerous if it's above the knee, right?
Yes.
Yeah, if it goes at me and I'm not looking for a legitimate way to play the ball, and this is uncontrolled like that, as opposed to even just sitting it on the stick or even getting it pretty close, then we don't have an issue, right?
But even if it's controlled, she can't dribble it into you.
She can't dribble it into me, yes, like this. Yeah, but if she gets close to me and she tries to go around me or this way or anything like that, as long as it's not, again, dangerous, legitimate, evasive action. If she's going around me, is the ball going to hit me? Same thing with a shot on goal. If I throw it and it goes past a player's shoulder and I don't even blink, is it a dangerous shot? Right. Danger is defined as legitimate evasive action. If it goes whizzing past me, I have to reward skill. The skill is I missed the player. I put it on target. I put it where I wanted to go. You have to assume they did it right.
But isn't in our
No.
rule book dangerous is also within 5
Maybe
yards?
maybe in club play or higher level high school play, I wouldn't. If it whizzed by somebody's ear, I'm not going to let them.
Right. I'm with you. I wouldn't either.
Wait a minute.
We don't have many players.
You're penalizing, but then you're penalizing somebody that might have the skill. You never penalize something that's not in the rule book.
Oh my God, guys. Okay, so
Whizzed right by their
this
ear.
is where we have an issue. I'm really sorry. I've done state games. I've done NCAA finals. I've done international matches.